open this computer. We're talking about letters of recommendation and how they are tiered. I usually say that by this time, I've had so many conversations with so many applicants, and it seems like they don't even have like 1 or 2 letters of recommendation. And I'll be like, why? This is a $500,000 job or $200,000 job that you're trying to apply, and then you don't have a letter of recommendation. And the next excuse, oh, I don't know anybody, or I don't live in the US. Sorry, that's not excusable enough, because each of these subspecialties that you want to apply to have various letters of record, various layers and requirements for letters of recommendation. For example, in psychiatry, you require 3 letters of recommendation minimum. And then some places, some special programs require you to have 4, and some special departments also want 4 or 3. Take your time to ensure that you read the requirements of each program that you want to apply. Don't just click and just start applying. They have their requirements: 3 letters of recommendation, 4 letters of recommendation, 2 letters of recommendation, right? Please adhere to that and get it. Now, the letter of recommendation are tiered. I gave an example of if you receive a phone, if you are able to be lucky enough to see somebody who calls a program and knows the program director, the program chair, the program leadership hierarchy, and then they recommend you, that is a high level, letter of recommendation. If you're not lucky enough to have somebody who does that, and then you get a program director that will give you letter of recommendation, then that's good enough, right? So program directors, they know the program, they give you letters of recommendation. If you don't know the program director, you know the program chair or somebody faculty in any program, and the person is able to say, hey, faculty member, that's another very, very good program, letter of recommendation. Letters of recommendation from the US usually are weighed more than letter of recommendations outside the US. In some scenarios, for example, not in every scenarios. For example, if I'm in the US, Dr. Edwards, who's just nobody, for example, or let's say nobody, whatever, gives a letter, and then the chairman of emergency department in UK, Worcester University, gives you a letter, you know, that's chairman of that emergency department in UK or emergency department in, I'll use the word, in Nigeria or in Ghana, may bear more weight than Edwards, who's here. Why do they want people in the US to give more letter of recommendation? Because our US medical system is unique. When we're referring someone to a program in the US, what we're evidently saying is that this person has been to the US system, knows how the US system runs, understands the referral system, understands the management system, understands the terminology. If you notice that the terminologies we use here are different from the terminologies we use outside, right? Terminologies like attending, like the names of drug, we use trade names instead of generic names mostly. And then the resources, the social worker system, where there is acute care, LTAC, subacute care, urgent care, ICU, ER, when to send people to when not to send people. Also, in that letter, we're trying to tell the program that you're already used to this. You are used to the US system of either insurance or healthcare or health, trajectory, and eventually that you'll be a good fit, adapting or getting into the program when you start. So that's another level, another letter of recommendation. The next question is, these letters of recommendation, must they come from the specialties that you apply for? Yes. We advise that internal medicine physicians should write an internal medicine letter of recommendation for you if available. Family medicine physician should write a family letter of recommendation if you're applying for letter of recommendation. A neurosurgery should write a neurosurgical letter of recommendation if you're applying for neurosurgery, and so on and so forth. A psychiatry should be the one to write a psychiatry letter of recommendation if you're applying to psychiatry, and so on and so forth. Except in these scenarios. Okay, you've done all you can. You've pushed to the limits, and then you didn't see a psychiatrist who's going to write a psychiatry letter for you. Can you tell the internal medicine physician who's writing that your letter to, hey, please, I'm actually applying for psychiatry. And then can you help me tell them that I'll be a good psychiatric candidate based on what you've observed about me over the years. Like if I'm going to construct that kind of a letter, I can tone it very well. Yeah, though that I worked with him in internal medicine, I saw traits about him that represents that's going to make a good psychiatrist. And then those traits are these, and these. And I think it's going to make, in addition to that, is overall knowledge, talk about your knowledge, talk about your relationship with your people, talk about your relationship with your co-workers, your relationship with your patients. And you think that it's going to make a great fit. Short less than 500 words, if possible, 300 words, and go. So that's another way. That's when you've exhausted all your limits, all your possibilities. Letters of recommendation should be properly worded, not just throw something. And that brings us to the point where we usually say, if you don't know the person enough to trust the person enough to give you good letter of recommendation, when I mean good, that will cover these 5 basic aspects or more. One, your relationship, your good relationship with him, that's as an introduction, your strength and character, clinical strength and character, relationship with people at work, relationship with your patients at work, your intrinsic character as a person, not just relationship, your intrinsic character as a physician, attention to details, medical knowledge, and so on and so forth, those intrinsic characters in detail. And then your future trajectory, where you see yourself, where he thinks that you're going to, where you think that you're going to function best, right? And then the strong worded closing. So you see these 5 characteristics are usually what a good letter of recommendation surrounds. You know, that's the 5th one, is strong worded close. I strongly believe, I'm deeply convinced. You may think it's nothing, but if I read 2 letters and somebody saying I'm deeply convinced that Dr. Helen will make a good fit. And that is saying Dr. Helen is good. Right? There are 2 differences. Even though I don't know both people that both parties, but that person that is passionate about Dr. Helen should be able to we win my heart naturally. We win your heart naturally. So the wordings are very, very important. And that's why in this academy, we beg people, if you do not know the person that's going to write a letter of recommendation, do not waive your right to see it. Oh, there's a lot of people's opinion out there that will say, those ones that are waived, they bear more weight than the ones that are not waived. I rather let it not bear more weight and it has quality and quality, than I waive it and the person just puts one line. I could remember one of the professors, I'm grateful to him, that gave me a letter of recommendation, but it was just one line. Wow, I didn't even know, and I waived the right, and I was hoping that it's going to be great. And then the program actually told me that, wow, that guy, did you work with a person? I said, yeah, what happened between you? When he said what happened, I was like I was excited. But he said he didn't say much great things about you. He just gave us like two pieces of things. Wow. I knew I wouldn't match in that program. My mind just melted like this. Oh my God. But this guy was a great guy. He was smiling for me. Maybe he didn't do it intentionally. Maybe it was his secretary that he just gave to write it. Secretary, probably somebody that finished high school who does not even understand this whole stress and this whole pressure that we're going through, right? Just wrote one thing and then uploaded in eras. And then I was there happy that the Professor XYZ, gave me a letter of recommendation. Meanwhile, I was just crap, right? So how to approach letter of recommendation or how to approach people letter of recommendation. If you are here and this season is opening, if you're here in the US or your season is opening in November, if you're in Canada, it's a very good time. Chief, I also recommend letter of recommendation of character. I got one. Great. Yeah, letters of character are also great. So that's another way. You can also add letter of character as a 4th letter, right? A letter of character can also go if you don't have a letter of recommendation. You can get, for example, there are so many attendees in this our group who have not worked with you, but can give you a letter of character because they've seen you, but you did not work under them. But they can say, at least I've had experience with this person. And then those people, your colleagues, your classmates, who may not be able to say that you worked with them, You had clinical experience with them, but they could talk about your character in person. Like I know people who can talk about my character in person. I don't falter or shake. Like I'm laser focused, and I know those people who can do that. And I approach them, hey, I need you to help me on this venture. How do you approach letters of recommendation requests? You could do that in several ways. First, look for people that can give you letter recommendation around your states, around your alumni. It's the same thing with networking around the programs that you want to apply to, right? When you identify them, I know one Dr. Adebayo in John Hopkins, but I really don't know him. The next thing is to begin to look for people who know him. And that's why we say, if you are doing it by this time, between now and end of August, you should have been able to at least navigate around people who know majority of this, because these are humans like me and you. They are in AMPA, they are in Kainji, they are in Joey Group, they are here, they are everywhere, right? And then you begin to navigate them. And then you send them letters on time, a request. Hey, I got referred to you by so person talking about, I'll really, it's my pleasure if you can draft me a letter of recommendation. If I can shadow you, because many people will not write a letter of recommendation, they don't see you. If I can shadow you briefly, I'm applied for internal medicine. Part of the requirements to apply for internal medicine is to get a good letter of recommendation that will support my application. I humbly seek that you play this role in my path as I continue my trajectory towards medicine. There are several ways to write it. I'm a strong advocate of ChatGPT. Go to ChatGPT, say, hey, ChatGPT, draft me a request letter to Professor so on my letter of recommendation. ChatGPT will do that for you. All of us here know ChatGPT. We do give you a very clear request letter, then you send it to that particular person. One of the things I did then, or many of us do, is to say, hey, if you don't mind, I can attach a template, right, that you can follow if you wish. And then you create the template itself so that the person, because if you send me a letter of recommendation, oh my God, it's one of the biggest things, very small piece of thing, but I don't have the time to do it. Like many people don't have the time to do it, right? So that's one of their burdens. So if you give them a template, they only just copy and paste, probably change one or two things. So make sure that you attach a template, make sure you attach your resume, at least put your resume. Some people who are very antsy, they're very particular. They want to look at your resume to see, is it really true that she said she's the best in the class? Is it really true that can you MD school dean? Yeah, yes. Is it really true that so attach your resume, attach that template and also give vivid descriptions. Please don't forget dates, don't forget your signature line, don't forget your portfolio, and then send it, right? I am a true believer of God. Whether you're Islam, you're Christian, you're Hindu, whatever you are, we have this divine being that works for us. For me, it's Jesus Christ, right? For you, everybody have theirs. I usually put him before in everything I do. I say, God, I'm sending this letter in the name of Jesus. Help me, you know. And for you who are Muslim, you know what you do, and those who are in your religions, they all know. Many of us believe, especially those in this race, have a spiritual power. Now we call on that spiritual power, and He's going to guide you absolutely well. So those are the tidbits I want to give for letter recommendation. And begin to search for it now. Don't wait till November. Don't wait till September. And then you begin to crack your head. Take a walk to the urgent care near you. You're a physician. Have that confidence. There's this thing about us, a physician, we lose confidence in who we are. Yes, it happens when we've been beat over again, especially when we are applied the second time, we lose confidence. Even all of us, we all struggle with ego and confidence. It happens. I look masculine, but I also struggle with ego and confidence in some places. Everybody struggle with their ego and confidence, but we just got to leap out of that crap. Like, come on, you're a physician, for goodness sake. That you cross the border from Nigeria or Ghana or Cape Coast or Saudi Arabia or England, that you moved across the sea to come to the US does not mean that you're not a physician. The only thing is that the requirements in these states, you have not met it. The requirement in this state, you have not met it. So if you have met the requirement, but that does not, so you have not met the requirement in this state, but that does not deny you the fact that you are not a physician. I know you are not mentally there, but remember, you did 8 years. You are top 10% of the society. You are, I'll use the word, you're a god. Small God. Like, come on. Don't let anybody say otherwise. Don't let anybody make you doubt yourself. Don't let anybody make you feel that you cannot do this. That you did not match does not mean that you are superior, that you are inferior to those who match. It's just time and chance. It's just time and chance. Don't look at that your colleague who's not picking your call, who's not answering you, or who's not responding. Don't let that person's braggadociousness define you. You are perfect and okay. You will match. It's just a matter of time, right? So take up that confidence, walk close to that urgent care, and request for letter and say, hey, can I see the doctor on call? Who are you? I'll say, I'm Dr. John. Put your name like that. I'm Dr. John. I'm Dr. John. I live nearby. I just wanted to tell him something, ask him something. Because the front desk, they're not going to know what the MAs and the front desk, they don't understand this battle. Even sometimes with the fear of not retribution, most of our wives and our family don't understand this thing that we're going through. They truly don't, right? And then you say, hey, I would like to, but if you're able to walk up to the doctor in that urgent care, in that ER, and just say, hey, I'm Dr. John, I live around the streets. I was hoping that I could speak to you. Do you have like 2 minutes? Sure. I am trying to apply for a residency program, and I've not had the opportunity to shadow anybody. And I also need letters of recommendation. I don't know if it's going to be convenient for you if I shadow you a few hours in a day or in a week, so that at the end of the day, you will be able to assess me and give me a letter of recommendation. You can go to nursing homes. There are doctors that come to nursing homes to work for people in psychiatry. There are nursing homes all around us. You can go to assisted living facilities. You can go to LTACs. You can even approach your pastor, your church, your imam, and say, hey, I would like to talk with you. Is there any doctor in our church that I can talk to? But that you wait till August and then you don't have a letter of recommendation, there's a problem. It's either there's a problem with you, or there's a problem with what I'm saying, or there's a problem with how I'm saying it. But I have worked on how I'm saying it, and I think the problem may not be mine, except I'm grandiose, right? Or we're sharing the problem 50-50, or there's a problem somewhere. Nobody should get into this application. November for Canada and September for ERAS, 2 months. I usually say 60 days. 60 days. It's more than enough, much more than enough. There was someone that we canceled today in our program, and the person started today. Believe me, I'm not making up this story. The person has gotten response today from somewhere in LinkedIn, and the person said, oh, sure, send me your this, send me that. Let's see what we can do for you. There are more people willing to help you than people willing to hurt you. There are more good people in the world. There are more successful marriages. There are more successes in the world compared to failure. Just that the failures are, very devastating, right? There are more people that matched compared to people who did not match. In every aspect of life, there are more good people compared to people in jail, compared to bad people. Hey, lucky. So to keep it short here, we're going to take like 2-3 questions. We've crossed our time. Today is Father's Day, and we're already Happy Father's Day badge. Happy Father to every father, every male figure in this group who is working behind the scene, trying to get into residency, to be able to maintain their integrity and maintain their name and maintain who they are. Because many of us, it's not that we cannot be successful elsewhere, but we just want to, maintain that I don't want to fail thing, and I want to be fulfilled thing. There's this thing about physicians, about us, that want to make us fulfilled. Happy Father's Day to you, and to our friends, wives, colleagues, daughters who are supporting us. Happy Father's Day to all of you who have father figures around you, whether your father, your husband. Happy Father's Day to everyone. If you don't have any question, do you offer ERAS application services? Yes, we offer application services. Let me just stop this recording.